Adventures of Sonic Episode 25, Snow Problem. We start out with Eggman saying he'll freeze every citizen on Mobius solid with a machine, and then, well then what, they die of hypothermia? Scratch has a food fight with Grounder. Anyways, Robotnik plans to install obedience chips into every frozen citizen, even Sonic. Why does Robotnik put those obedience chips on Scratch and Grounder? Isn't that redundant? They're already his robots, they should have blind loyalty programmed into them. They would have jumped out the window anyways. Again, this is a plan that should have been allowed to succeed at least on some scale, for like one city. So Robotnik could be a genuine threat we want to be taken down, like in SAT-AM. But instead, I bet his whole plan will be screwed up. Sonic amused me because after he's buried in snow, he says that maybe chill out was a bad choice of words.
Maybe chill out was a bad choice of words.
So just like in the comic, Robotnik plans to freeze Mobius, but it makes more sense here because of the obedience chip thing. Sonic dresses up like a weather reporter with clothes and stuff that he shouldn't have, and he hears Scratch scream as he's being pulled down a snowy hill by a sled pulled by Grounder. A bunny skier is passed by Sonic, who shows an interest in her right away. Again, he's a Casanova, I love this. And it's a subtle moment that doesn't lead to anything, so it doesn't waste much time. Grounder stops at the edge of a cliff, but the momentum of Scratch catching up with him on the rope sends them both off the cliff, and the sled falls on their heads, dazing them. I'm always so bored by the slapstick. Is this really supposed to be funny? Sonic says that he can get some info out of Scratch and Grounder because for some reason, the obedience chips work to make people obey more than just Robotnik. Worst programmer ever. So Sonic way too easily gets to learn about Eggman's plan as Grounder serves him with him on a chair. Sonic says it's cool having bots work for him for a change.
This is kinda cool, having bots work for us for a change.
I love that, he's really not that different from Eggman.
I'm their master.
He gladly takes advantage of him as Grounder gives him hot chocolate and a hot bath and whipped cream, putting the cream in the bath for no reason. Grounder then stops and the momentum sends Sonic into the tree, with Sonic thinking they're more dangerous as servants than as enemies. No, that's completely wrong, Sonic, you idiot. They're not trying to kill you. They're not using traps against you. It'd be uncomfortable for them to keep calling Sonic Master the whole show, though. An avalanche happens, threatening the heroes. Sonic insults the robots for not being able to do anything about it.
Some help you guys are.
Just like Robotnik. And he runs around creating fire to melt the snow into water. Then he surfs on the resulting wave with a surfboard he somehow has, but shows a callous lack of regard for Scratch and Grounder by not even trying to save them from the water. Tails was no better, he just flew away from the water without trying to help them. And they don't ever say, oh, they're robots, they'll survive, or they're robots, screw them. There's no explanation. Normally, heroes save villains for no reason. Grounder's glad that Sonic's alright. I think I like this episode better than the comic story like this, because it's novel seeing Scratch and Grounder be Sonic's servants. Out of complete nowhere, Eggman reveals he thought ahead to make a button that could return his SSS squad to his control. That's a diabolic ex machina. Since when does he think ahead like that? Sonic isn't suspicious at all when the robots randomly go from offering to take the first step on the crumbling snow to recommending the opposite. The robots try to kidnap Tails from the other side of the snowy abyss, but Sonic actually has my sympathy for once because he shivers from the cold wind. I wonder how high the Tails was kidnapped counter will get by the end of the show. Eggman then reveals that he plans to put the servitude chip on Tails' wrist and not insert it in his ear or brain, which somehow manages to make Tails' acting even more wooden than usual. Tails calls out for Sonic from the other end of the snowy cliff. The fact that he has such horrible acting with his brainwashed state in-universe should have immediately warned Sonic what's going on with him. Also, it's glaring that when Tails first called out for Sonic, his acting was good. So what happened? Sonic gets tied up by Scratch, and Sonic asks Scratch to demonstrate Tails' obedience. Tails is told to hop on one foot, dance, and then take off his own servitude chip. Why the hell would Grounder tell him to do that? This is such a deus ex machina every time they're ridiculously gullible like this. And I knew it! Sonic bullshit powers his way out of the ropes. Why didn't he just do that in the first place then and save Tails? Then he fools Scratch somehow with a disguise he shouldn't have, making him and Grounder go on a ski lift chair that flings them off the cliff. Scratch breaks the fourth wall, which always sucks, showing a lack of investment from the writers. Then Tails is told to lead the way to Robotnik's fortress. Robotnik fires giant icicles to trap Sonic. Good thing they didn't actually hit Sonic himself. Tails is useful by pulling him out from the icicle cage, and Robotnik has cannons fire snowballs at Sonic, who throws a book he somehow has, and it catches on fire for no reason to damage the billboard with Robotnik on it, which somehow is programmed to react negatively to that. The show makes no sense. Speaking of no sense, Sonic has a painter's disguise now out of nowhere. Robotnik isn't able to target Sonic because Sonic painted his camera to make him think he's in the middle of the ocean. He leaves, and Sonic runs around in a circle to spin Robotnik around and throw him in the lake. Then Sonic actually freezes Lake Splatterhorn with Robotnik in it and skates on it. Which, weird, because you'd think that would be like damaging the ecologicalness and freezing over the fish, and like that's odd for a nature lover to do. What? They're leaving him there? He'll be trapped there for a week until the lake thaws out. Am I really supposed to believe he survived this? Are you kidding me? He dehydrated 3 days, not to mention freeze to death or worse. This should have taken him down for good. How would the heroes possibly know that he would survive this? I mean, he needs to eat, doesn't he? The Sonic Says message out of nowhere is about taking care of your bike. What does that have to do with the episode? I like this episode. Robotnik wanted to freeze the world like an Archie, but here it was more that he wanted to freeze everyone in it so he could put obedience wristwatches on them. Wouldn't headbands make more sense? Anyways, it ends up resulting in Grounder and Scratch obeying Sonic. And best of all, Sonic relishes in having robot slaves willing to do whatever he says, just like Eggman or Scourge would. It's interesting to see he's not as purely heroic as he claims. Too bad he thinks of them as more dangerous that way, even though they're not trying to kill him. I just don't understand why Robotnik put those obedience chips on robots that should already be programmed to be that obedient to begin with. So the whole plot never should have happened. I can't really say that about the Freeze Mobius plot in Archie.